much money do the real estate agents of Selling Sunset actually make? Well, it's official. Season 5 of Selling Sunset has arrived, and we finally have another chance to see just how glamorous the life of a real estate agent is. Or do we? Did you know that the agents at the Oppenheim Group make next to nothing if they're not closing deals? Well, I guess that depends on your definition of next to nothing, but without a closing, there is no check coming in from the brokerage. They all appear to be enjoying the lifestyles of the rich and the famous, but how much money do they really make? Join me as I take a behind-the-scenes look at the revenue streams of the stars of perhaps one of Netflix's most successful reality real estate shows, Selling Sunset. But while we're at it, we should probably talk about a few of the recent headlines since season 5 has aired. I mean, with these sort of production mistakes, it's hard not to talk about them. I mean, come on, just look at these headlines. Jason talking to his camera app, Chelsea's rubber band dress, Emma's giant hands, and of course, Christine's sleeping beauty hats. All of that and more on today's episode of What It's Really Like to Quit Your Job and Get Your Real Estate License. All right, but before we get started, it would be a huge help if you guys pulled a Will Smith and slapped that like button. For real though, I hear if you slap it just right, you'll even be rewarded with some pretty freaking sweet confetti, and it will of course help the YouTube algorithm, and as your reward for doing that, I present to you a briefcase full of cash. Or a photo of one at least. Let's begin with the headlines. They seem to be taking over the internet right now anyways, and why not start it out with a banger? Selling Sunset's Christine Quinn has officially exited the Oppenheim Group. But is that a good thing? In other words, will Selling Sunset survive Christine Q's exit? We've all seen this one coming, right? I mean, since season 3, the sarcastic, outspoken agent's role in the show has definitely dwindled as the majority of her castmates no longer interact with her because of past beef. But it was the season 5 finale cliffhanger where we saw her skip a meeting with the bosses over a bribery allegation, which got us all thinking. And guess what? We thought right. It's now been confirmed that the notorious agent has officially exited the Oppenheim Group for good. While it has been said it was Christine's decision to leave the Oppenheim Group, it will be interesting to see how this affects Christine's fame as well as the success of the show. This does leave room for a new star to emerge though, while also mixing up the storyline a bit. What sort of impact do you guys see this having on season 6? Can the show go on without her one-liners and outlandish fashion choices? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. While the loss of 1 star could be detrimental to the show's success, a loss of 2 would almost certainly be the nail in the coffin, right? Well, let's take a look at this next headline. Is Maya Vander leaving Selling Sunset? Yeah, I know, right? First Christine, now Maya? Well, Maya has split her time between Miami and LA since the beginning of the show, and at her goodbye party, she was quoted saying, "At the end of the day, you know, I want to be a superwoman, but I can't. I have to prioritize." Is this her hinting at her departure from the show? Or will she find a way to make it work while living and working full-time in Miami? I mean, no one would blame her if this was in fact her final season after sadly experiencing a stillbirth after filming ended on season 5. In a recent interview, she made mention of having plans to become pregnant again, and if that's the case, it seems unlikely that she'd want to take on the added stresses that come from the filming of a hit reality TV show nearly 3,000 miles away from her home. Either way, my thoughts and prayers go out to Maya's family, and if she decides not to come back for season 6, well, she has my blessings. Now, before diving into the title question, Selling Sunset, how much money do the real estate agents make? Why don't we take a look at the lighter side of the show, or rather the hysterical production mistakes observed in season 5. First off, we've got Jason talking to his camera app. While finalizing Chelsea Lascani's offer, Jason Oppenheim calls his client while on camera. The only problem, the call appears to have been made from the camera app. The blooper was, smashed when Jason told TMZ that you can actually open the camera app while on a phone call, but that doesn't necessarily prove that's what happened here. Come on, Jason, we want to see your call logs. Next up, Chelsea's rubber band dress. It's been made very clear up until this point that Chelsea likes to live life on the edge by constantly being at risk of a nip slip. But in season 5, it's also very obvious that 2 rubber bands are being used to tighten her dress. Is Netflix trying to end Chelsea's career with these hysterical production mishaps? Or did someone on the production team have a late night out before editing these clips? My question to you, are they real or are they fake, right? And then there was Emma's giant hands. I'm not one to speak negatively about someone's proportions, but the world is a bit confused on how the entire production team missed these mishaps. It's almost as though the crew conspired to set her up, showcasing how much lighter the skin tone of her hands were in comparison to her face. And if that wasn't enough, the depth they used in this shot makes her fingers appear to never end. Poor Emma, the show did you wrong. Have I saved the best for last? Well, the last hysterical headline, I guess. Christine's Sleeping Beauty hats. Not sure there's much to explain in this one. One minute it's a tiny blue hat, the next it's a giant pink hat. This had to be intentional. Come on, did you guys hire regular size Rick to throw this show together? All right, enough with the jokes. Let's jump into the real reason you're all here. Or the real reason you all thought you were here. How much money do the real estate agents of Selling Sunset actually make? With their extravagant wardrobes and million-dollar homes, it's obvious that these agents have got it made. But just how much money do they take home from the Oppenheim Group? As with the majority of real estate agents, the cast does not receive a salary from the brokerage, but rather takes home a percentage of each home that they sell. This full commission-based sales model is perhaps the most difficult part of being a real estate agent at times, and I should know. My first year in the industry, I could hardly feed my family, but hard work pays off, and here we are today. The agents on the show typically earn a commission from 3 to 5% of the sales price for each home sold. Maya, the brokerage's first agent, has explained how the agent does not take that entire commission, but rather a portion of that commission after the brokerage takes their cut. She stated that typically a 5% commission is split between the buyer's agent and the listing agent, meaning 2.5% for each agent. From this, the Oppenheim Group typically takes 30% of said commission for the oversight and liability that goes along with the sale. And remember, Uncle Sam wants his piece of the pie as well. Maya then reminds us that it's not as big as you think. Whatever you say, Maya, let's do the math. A $10 million home multiplied by 2.5% comes out to $250,000. We then take that number and subtract out the Oppenheim Group's cut of 30%, and we're still sitting at $175,000. Well, then we've got to pay Uncle Sam, so why don't we subtract another 30%, which leaves us with $122,500 from the sale of one home. But keep in mind, there are quite a few business expenses that go along with the profession. Either way, I'd say that most of these agents are pretty well off, with twin brothers Jason and Brett said to each have an individual net worth around $50 million. But remember, this isn't the only way that these agents make their money. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that we'd be taking a look at the different revenue streams of the cast members. With the show's success, many, if not all of the agents have been able to cash in on their fame, landing lucrative sponsorships and
Instagram deals.
While Chrishell originally found fame as a soap opera star on both Days of Our Lives and The Young and the Restless, my grandma loved her. Her success on Selling Sunset actually led to a Dancing with the Stars appearance and a book deal. She is said to be worth upwards of $5 million, and she proved her wealth with the purchase of a $3.3 million home in the Hollywood Hills just last year. Christine, however, has not been quite as lucky, having said to be worth $1.5 million, which has actually tripled from $500,000 back in 2020. But even at $1.5 million, I think I'd be pretty well off, especially when you marry a tech entrepreneur worth an estimated $20 million. Talk about revenue streams, am I right? Like Chrishell, Vanessa V's previous acting career has escalated her net worth up to approximately $5 million. The second agent to join the brokerage, Heather Rayel Musa's net worth, which sits at about $3 million, comes in part from her acting and modeling work alongside 7 years of real estate deals. Season 4 edition Emma Hernan is said to have a net worth of $3 million thanks to her real estate deals and her empanadas, of course. Davina's lengthy real estate career has earned her $2 million, making her start back in 2006, while Mary, Amanza, and Maya are all said to be worth approximately $1 million. Selling Sunset's new cast member, Chelsea Liscani, is said to be worth about $500,000 from her past real estate success, as she just joined the cast this year. While it seems like the cast truly does live a lifestyle of the rich and the famous, it's important to remember that it does take money to make money. It's been said that Netflix doesn't pay for anything. The cast is left to pay for their own hair, their makeup, and even their wardrobe while filming, which could cost as much as $1,000 per day. Well, that's a wrap. The next time you're considering quitting your job and getting your real estate license, remember what we learned here today. And that is, of course, that if you want to be uber rich, you should probably look into multiple revenue streams. One last thing before you go, please smash that subscribe button to help me beat this dang YouTube algorithm. And if you're feeling extra special today, go search your Instagram for the username @TheInkedAgent and give me a follow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.